Hello everybody and welcome back. Apologies, we may have had some technical issues, or a few. Yes, I can hear you there, Smithy. Right, just waiting just waiting to say whatever it is you need to say. Hello everybody and welcome back here to the coverage of the CPL Korean Qualifier. It is game 2 here in this best of 3 series between CJ Entus on your left. Now they're your blue team for this draft, and your purple team is of course Najin Shield. CJ Entus ever up 1-0 in this series. So it's definitely, obviously now on Najin Shield, to make sure they win this game and force that third game, see if they can advance further here in this 8-team qualifier. PapaSmithy, how are you, my good friend?
I'm doing fantastically well. You know, I was ready to come into lobby here. I was not ready for some of the picks, though. We see some quintessentially Korean things and also some new things here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to quickly recap as well, I did accidentally drop myself out of the lobby, or got booted, not too sure, but the Koreans were lovely enough to give us the bans. So CJ enters the bans there, Nocturne, TF, and Rise were the bans out there, and Najin Shield have gone with Carthus, Alstar, and Malphite for their bans. And I guess just kind of backtracking a little bit to last game, we had, of course, Carthus and Malphite both caused, I think, a few problems for Najin Shield in the last game.
Well, Najin Shield was playing the Malphite last game, so clearly they just don't want to deal with it. But the Carthus was the pearl in CJ Entus' comp there, and it just crushed them. So why deal with it a second time? But what I'm most interested in is that we see the Azubu Blaze bottom lane come top lane. Graves and Lulu has been brought out here by CJ Entus, and look who's there but the noble demon jester, Shaco.
It's a Shaco. I mean, you know, we as, you know, English-speaking casters can maybe laugh what we can, but I mean, it sounds silly.
And it's not just anyone's Shaco. This is Makuza's Shaco. Well, it's Makuza's Shaco runes here, same ones he runs, but this is a Shaco main if you have a look.
And I think someone's trolling me. No, sadly, I'm not but Illy. My name is Pastrytime. Hello, welcome. No, apologies, sir. My accent is very different, unfortunately. But yes, I mean, we are going to see, I guess, the quintessential Korean champion here. It is going to be Shaco running. We have Anivia in there as well, everybody's favorite AP mid, and of course Long Panda up in here as well. So yes, man.
And probably the other most, you know, the other champion most associated with Korea, the release tie-in champion Ari on the Najin Shield side. Yeah,
absolutely, and man, Ari's such a very powerful champion. So, just quickly, everybody in the chat, big ups to Trollomeo, who's just wondering. My name is Pastrytime. I'm going to be joined with PapaSmithy. We are League of Legends casters from Australia. We're actually filling in for Joe Miller and but Illy, because they are, of course, at Gamescom right now at the IEM event casting there. So, you know, sadly, we don't get the same crowd that I'm sure they will, but it's absolutely a blast here to kind of fill in here for ESL Asia. Big ups to the admins there as well for letting us do this one, and we are going to load into this game. We barely had enough time to talk about what's going on, but it's going to be a pretty exciting one. And I have to, and apparently Trollomeo is informing me he lives in Melbourne, so he's not the international guest that is confused as to why his favorite American and favorite British person have gone out. But definitely great to see a lot of Australians on. So yes, sadly not but Illy, despite actually using his account as well. So thanks again to those guys for hooking us up. And yeah, so these are our picks. We're going to see Ezreal Sana running here. Oh, never mind, they're already loading into the game. That was ridiculously fast.
That is the product of having the highest ping, the lagger, so to speak, of this game at 12 ping.
Oh,
so,
man.
Loading time's not a problem.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, that was pretty sick. They're, of course, playing on the Korean server, Korean internet, definitely known for being fairly powerful. And yeah, that was fast. There was almost barely any loading screen there. And we are going to see, of course, Insect now from CJ on the jungle. Shaco, he is going to now look to put down some boxes. And I think a lot of this is going to be really telling about where exactly we are.
And they do seem to have the inclination on the Najin Shield side that he's a blue side man, because they are forming their way maybe for a late invade or a CLG style invade into the blue buff here.
Yep, so we can see everybody setting up now as well. We can see Ari's glowing orbs as well, that great Foxfire skin coming in. So we could be seeing, you know, come up here into this bush, of course, a CLG invade. You come in here, you sweep through this brush, come down all the way in here, you sneak your way up in here into this tri-bush up here, and then, of course, you late invade the blue buff, trying to pick off usually the jungler and the buff as well. Oh, wow. And that was an interesting buckshot there from Extra Wave. He actually checked this bush. Obviously, it's going to be pretty hard for them to get in there with this tower being all the way here, but definitely doesn't want to take any chances, I guess, and actually check that bush with his buckshot. So maybe he just decided he wanted to use some mana. He has come back now, and I believe bought himself an extra potion. Nope, actually just heading to bot lane.
That's a good knowledge of your champion. There's little things you can do, like I would never think I'll check that bush by listening to the sound that my buckshot makes when it enters it. But very clever, and it gave them more information and knowledge than they already had. And also, Shen here did spot the ward that was put down right here.
There was a Shaco box put in here as well, just as a scouting box, and that looks like we've got 2 up here, and of course 1 down here for the Wolves that are being started off with a bit of help here by Anivia, being piloted by Mbu for this one, so Insec can have a pretty happy time with blue, and I'm going to follow this Shaco because I'm really curious to see where he goes. And I mean, CJ Entus, they are the team up in this best of 3 series, of course. It's actually single elium, I believe, for the CPL Korean qualifier, so you know, it's kind of all the marbles you have to win out to get there. No smite being used here by Shaco. Is he going to pick up Deceive and maybe go for a quick invade? No, I think he might actually go for the quick level 3 here. Actually picked up 2 Shiv Poison, so I think maybe go for the quick red here and then go level 3 double buff gank on Shaco. Could be very strong here.
And I think you have the right idea. You were talking about watching Shaco here in the early game. Shaco is a playmaker, and he's only ever as strong as his early game here. So if you're feeling really lazy, Pastry, just lock your camera on Shaco, and I think the viewers will have plenty of fun.
But we are no, that's okay. We are going to see a ward actually in here that got placed by CJ, so definitely I wanted to make sure their red wasn't getting taken away. Oh my goodness, I barely noticed Darius is in the jungle.
Yeah, that was the other interesting thing I did not note on, but Darius jungle is something that a lot of players have been talking about. It's not necessarily the strongest, but the ganks and the ability to duel are almost unparalleled. You don't just absorb auto attacks from a Darius, you just you run away at the side of him.
Yep, and Shaco's actually already popped his way in the move for that gank, and looks like both junglers actually going for this quick level 3 gank strategy. Darius,
and we haven't mentioned here, though, there has been a lane swap, as we see. Funnily enough, the team without the Graves, the Najin Shield team, have initiated this swap up, and we see Ezreal and Sona hit wailing on Shen, while Graves Lulu, probably the best pushing duo lane against Vladimir down bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in these bot lanes. Personally, I think one of the biggest advantages of the popular lane switches we're seeing now with these 1v2 lanes being created, I think it actually really hurts Shen as a champion. And I think honestly, I think the best response to Shen is to do exactly what's happening now, and exactly what Najin are doing.
Speaking of what's happening now, Shaco is feeling frisky.
He is ready for the super Shaco gank. You pretty much deceive through here, walk up into this brush, you're invisible, you can wait for your deceive to come back off and come in, or of course you can go over this side as well. If you actually hit the right vector, I believe you can even blink a little bit further than normal with your deceive, and I'm sure Insec is an experienced Shaco player. There he comes in!
Uses his
Soul's in a lot of trouble there as well. Exhaust comes out as well. Yep, so Shaco coming in now with the red buff. Exhaust there, but used by Soul, as well as the flash out there as well. So nice job there from Shaco, burning a few summoner spells. Did a ton of damage actually to Ezreal as well. So he's going to be pretty happy with that one. In the mid now we can see Anivia versus Ari. This is an interesting matchup, and I guess if you look at one of the most well-known Anivia players, Froggen from CLGAU, I think he would say that this is a good matchup for Ari.
I think it is too, because Anivia, base stat-wise, is very low early game, quite squishy. She'll definitely want to rush a Catalyst here, just to give her a bit more survivability, because especially at level 6, Ari's burst potential will put her in egg very, very quickly, and may even be enough to kill her.
And here comes Shaco in again, Soul in a lot of trouble. There's a heal actually getting used off there by, I think it was, I'm trying to figure out, no, it was Ezreal there. Now Darius coming in, sorry, Insect getting low as well. Darius could be in there, but I don't think he has his grapple up again. I think it's Apprehend that skill scored. Yes, it is indeed. There we go. There's the skill knowledge coming out. And Shaco will get away there. Picks up first blood as well for himself. So that's kind of what you want to do with Shaco. Oh man, that's a quick turret. It's gone.
And the 5-minute turret goes down bottom in exactly the same lane we saw Zuba Blaze do it. The Graves Lulu against the Vladimir. And Vladimir, you know, early levels, those cooldowns are quite long. The Tides of Blood doesn't clear waves. What is he going to do against the aggressive push of Graves Lulu?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that both these 1v2 lanes seem to be really beneficial for the duo lanes. I mean, obviously Lulu Graves is going to push a lot harder than Ezreal Sona, but I mean both Shen and Vladimir are kind of champions that want to farm, don't push all that well, especially Vladimir when he's the lower levels, as we've talked about. And I think these top laners are going to have a little bit of trouble finding farms. So assuming that this top tower goes down here in top as well for Najin, which I'm expecting to happen in a minute or two.
I don't think you can assume that though, Pastry, cutting you off here, because if you look, it's taken perhaps one auto attack worth of damage, and Graves Lulu are heading right up there to try and do the same job top lane. So you'd have to say very clear early advantage to CJ Entus here.
Oh, I mean, and that's the whole reason you run the Lulu Graves lane. I mean, almost the sole reason, in fact. And we can see Vlad, he's just struggling now, trying to farm up here.
That's all a product of Shaco's jungle presence early. And maybe Shaco's a interesting champion to use in these situations because, you know, one thing you can say about wanting to take an early tower is you're going to be overextended, and Shaker, he licks his chops at that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest, I think this is a really smart move as well by CJ. They actually swapped their dual lane up in top. So now Shen, who was having maybe a little bit of trouble CSing, is going to get plenty of farm down in the bottom lane now. I mean, he doesn't want to go too far and, you know, potentially overextend and get picked off. But, I mean, as you said, the tower's barely taking any damage. Ezreal Sona not able to push maybe as hard as they want.
Shaco did spend a considerable amount of time up top.
He's back as well. Boots of mobility coming straight in there as well. Insect wants to go straight in there onto Sona, who's taking a ton of damage. Soul turns around there, looks for the Mystic Shot, can't find it. Extra Wave coming in as well, and they will force the flash
just with
there.
His own damage, taking over half of Sona's health there.
Yeah, and forcing the flash off as well, so Sona's not going to have that for this one. And I think we are going to see a consolidation here to maybe go for some aggressive push, so Shaco's presence obviously scaring them away, and now the turret's going to be taking a little bit more damage. Darius roaming up now as well with a Doran's Blade in addition to his Boots of 1. So it could be looking there. Yes, I am an NA player, to the person asking me in chat. Everyone in Australia is, sadly. Almost everyone, I'd say. Anyway, just a quick bit of trivia. I thought Darius was coming top.
Ask me anything.
Ask me anything. Not right now. Unless you want to ask me who I think is going to win this game. And the answer is I hope it's Najin's Shield, because I want a third game.
Just to force that third game. I don't think it's going to be blind pick like OGN though, unfortunately.
No, sadly. I need more. I just need more. It's so great right now. But, I mean, these two teams have played pretty fantastically. We had a fairly, I don't know about close game one, but it went for a while. And I think both teams were in it for most of it as well. I think CJ just kind of out-team fought their opponents very skillfully there at the end with their great team fight comp. They kind of had that Malphite Karthus, and that was a lot of the story there at the end of that game. And right now, looking great here as well with this. I mean, Lulu Graves is kind of the hot new thing in League of Legends, shall we say?
Yeah, and if you want to play passively, if you want to just last hit at your turret and play safely, Lulu Graves is not the lane for you. It's a great lane for punishing 1v2 situations, and it's a great lane for pushing, and that's what they're doing here.
Yeah, and I think, as we kind of talked about, giving Shen all this space now in bottom lane. I mean, Vlad is going to get a little bit of space as well. He's actually up on Shen if you want to look at it that way in terms of traditional ways these lanes would work out. And Graves Lulu definitely trying to pound on this turret right now. I mean, 51 for Ezreal versus 77 for Graves. That in and of itself.
We see Ari roaming up here. There could be an engagement up top shortly.
There most definitely could be. I think. Very nice presence of mind here. Up, there we are. There's a ward right there, spotting Ari, and that is such a fantastic ward as well. You just want to.
I believe that's a. I don't believe that's so. I think that was a fresh ward. They just kind of backed off at just the right time there.
Hey, presence of mind potentially. They're just like maybe Anivia just called the Ari, and they immediately was like, "Yeah, don't want to risk it. We're overextended. Please don't kill me."
So this is actually a very good lane for Vlad. The 1v1 Vlad versus Shen is definitely in Vlad's favor as levels go. And, you know, he's definitely ahead in experience here. He's looking good, but Shen provides that global pressure. So he's just going to want to get not too far behind as we see Shaker with his boots 5 roam. That 3.5 second deceive looked like ages there with the amount of ground he carried.
It really did, and that is a sign of a very experienced Shaco player. That was literally a split second from him getting revealed in that lane, and unfortunately Vladimir was in the bush that he kind of waddled his way into. Ari as well, by the way. It's just chilling out here in the back. Guys, if you're having stream problems, please hit your refresh button, but maybe not right now, because I have not dropped a frame for a while. But I'm going to come in now. So there's the tower. Instant Shen up there as well. Now extra wave coming in. Lulu follows up as well. And there's a collateral damage onto Soda to pick her off. And now lots of damage being dished out onto Ari. Long Panda coming in as well onto the Shen. Damage being dished out. Anivia picks up one there as well. So 1-for-1 trade is happening right now. The tower dive comes back in as well. Soul, way too far forward there. Looking for the kill on extra wave before getting cut off there.
Amazing play by Mboob there with the flash wall, just a level 1 wall, enough to move away the Darius and the finish with the Ignite and the E. And they pick up Dragon at the same time, and now CG Entus are amazingly far ahead at the 10-minute mark.
That was insane.
And if you think about that, that's in almost every situation that tower dive would have been a master stroke. But at full health, at about 1200 health probably before he got some experience there, Graves had a Shen ultimate put on top of him, which gave him an extra effect of 250 health, and Lulu ulted him, so that's also 250 health. So 500 health in an instant when you're turret diving is definitely the difference between cleaning up 2 easy kills and just an amazing, I guess you could call it counter gank by CJ Entus there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like the super counter gank, because it's a Shen ultimate. You get a shield in there as well. And actually, Rusty Wilbeck's well-known Australian AP mid player, I think says it all there. He says that Shen has the reactions of a Korean.
And that's only respectful to the Korean player base that we may or may not be seeing today.
Oh, absolutely. It is nothing but respect. That, I mean, that's a product of a pretty fancy ping that we saw on the loading screen. That was ridiculous how fast that was. That was absolutely
and I'm
absurd.
thinking that it'd be interesting to see what the TeamSpeak or the vent would have been for CG Entus there, because it's very suspicious for Ari to be missing and for Darius to be helping push. Now, I mean, it could be explained away. It's not always going to be a tower dive, but more often than not, it will be. And clearly the Shen was alert. He was aware of his situation, and that was an amazing, amazing trade of kills there.
Yeah.
Completely in CG Entus' favor.
Yep. Speaking of tower dives, by the way, we did have a bit of poke down there. Ari actually ult is in trying to dive onto Long Panda, but oh my goodness, Darius is in trouble. There's Insect gonna find himself with Darius as well. Exhaust proccing off there.
Shen's taunt does not go over the wall here.
As the Jack in the Box is coming in as well. Hemo play gets procced off. I think Darius is a little bit dead though, and we are going to see there's the kill. Long Panda actually will pick up credit for that one. Darius, oh my goodness, Insect is somehow alive after that ignite. And there's the Vladimir with the troll pool.
And you know, some of that's the product of amazing ping. You know, it's easy to look at that and say, man, I could do that with that ping. But did you see the amazing Shaco play there? He used the brush to his advantage to get in on Darius there. And then the escape, the amazing juke there. Just clearly a veteran Shaco here. And as I said, I looked at his match history before the game started. 68% win rate on his most played champion, Shaco.
Wow. And I mean, I was going to actually ask you, what do you think of a Shaco pick? I think, honestly, it's also a product of the fact that CJ Entus are up for one game.
I think if you're going to swap lanes around and people are going to be overextended, Shaco profits on that more than any other champion. And also in the kind of the craziness of swapping lanes, you know, tops going bottom, having to counter swap lanes, Shaco is also one of the best champions in the game at objective control and can so easily solo.
Just at the end of the ult there, extra wave though, Shen gonna come back in as well, and that ult may have been a waste. We saw Lu again with the instant defensive ultimate. They actually could convert this into a lot of push though, which could be good here. We're seeing Anivia rotate up now, gonna get spotted out by this ward. I don't think, oh no, there's Shaco there as well. Actually all five members of CJ Entus have managed to just kind of wander their way up in top lane, and I think they're gonna give it up. Yep, there's top turret going down as well, and now 6-1 in kills and 2-0 in turrets for CJ Entus here early on. And Najin,
they also got the dragon, remember, because Shaco soloed it. Yep. Like I said, that objective control in the madness, oh my goodness, the damage on Ari.
And I think Joss will get out here.
Wow.
Calculated.
That was not an overkill by very much health there, Pastry.
No, it would have been beautiful if it was exact, by the way. But yeah, the poor Ari there, she's just a product of yet.
You see Shaco down bottom, Insect's trying to solo the Vladimir, and amazingly doing very well so far.
Shaco just, hey, he's unstoppable. Oh, great pull out. None of it's going to be enough though, the clone. Oh, beautiful deceive. Calculated in mid as well. We're having action. Darius in a ton of trouble. There's Shen coming in there as well. And Anivia actually gets egged up, but I don't think they're going to catch Darius. No, he's going to get out there, but it doesn't even matter. CJ Entus going to make this game look ridiculously quick compared to the other one.
3 turrets and 7 kills at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, and you can see that, and all up, that accounts for...
So 7 kills.
Yeah, and that accounts for 6,500 gold in the lead.
Wow.
Which is just pretty insane.
The Shaco pick looking completely inspired here, and I wonder if that will be something we'll see in counter to these 2v1 lanes, this roaming around the map as a champion like Shaco, a prototypical assassin champion with amazing escapes.
Yeah, could be. Just a quick reminder, everybody as well, this is game 2 here. CJ Entus did pick up the first game. They are your blue team for this one. So Najin Shield here, your purple team, sorry, do need to pick this one up here if they want to force that third and final game. But CJ looking very strong here, and I mean, I guess kind of showing them maybe a bit more dominance. You know, they felt out the first game. They're pretty careful the way they played it, and that was a fairly long and I would say it was an action-filled game, but it was still fairly passive. No one really wanted to force the 30-minute Baron. It actually took us, I think, to 40 minutes to actually get to the first one. So there's a little bit of a longer one, but CJ definitely looking to make this one over in a few short minutes. I mean, if they won this one in 10 minutes, they'd be pretty happy, and they've definitely got that possibility now with just the lead they have. And Lulu now with an Oracles as well, going to make clearing out so many things quite a bit easier. Shaco maxing 2-shift poison as well. This is everybody playing at home. Sonar, you don't need to be there. Great ult, but it's not going to be enough there. An extra wave. Not that. Whoop! There we go. Extra wave cleans it up.
Wanted to leave the kill for Graves there.
Yep.
Good play.
Shaco's like, alright, that knocks gonna kill him, let's go. Shaco even poking his head around as well, looking for maybe another kill there. He could just maybe dive onto Ari, get the damage off Ezreal, in a lot of trouble there as well. And Insect gonna cut him off. There's the Arcane Shift, but and Shaco
doesn't feel confident enough to solo him that far away from his team.
Team's a little bit far away as well, yep, so doesn't want to quite get their Flash Frost. Just missing onto Vladimir. Soul in a bit of trouble there as Extra Wave comes up the top.
And Shen just calmly farms up top.
Yep, and I mean, he does have his ultimate up as well. In fact, it's up very soon. It's not up quite yet, but they're going to force yet another dragon. They have this timer, of course. Shaco took it quite early on, I think about the 8-minute mark. And
Shaco doesn't need any help.
Also known as the 10-minute mark, because Dragon just came back up. But yeah, Shaco's just like, I got it. Oh, he did smile. I thought
one thing that I'm doing here, I'm doing a cursory look at the items, and we see Graves pick up a Bloodthirster along with Boots too, which is what we've seen from a lot of Korean teams, and what was the same in the first game. The one that interests me is that Ari's gone what I would regard as an MDK Ari build, a murder, death, kill Ari build. So will it do enough damage here as she tries to take down the very tanky Shen?
Yep, Long Panda going to flash out there over the ridge there, so great play from him, and oh my goodness, he has Aegis of the Legion already. That is just pain train for Shen. I mean, especially for someone, he applies pressure in another lane, he pushes well, and of course, Aegis is, I don't know if it's instant benefit when you ult them, but of course, you have the shield, you enter the fray.
It's not instant benefit, I don't believe.
But of course, as soon as you teleport after your ultimate, you have the Aegis buff in there as well, and of course, you're already providing that shield. So, it's a great item in general. We're seeing just a lot more teams now really respect it, I think, a little bit more than they, more than they should. You know, they didn't quite respect it before in the past. And on Shen, it's just even better as an item. So that early Aegis here, you know, it's what, 15 minutes or so is just pretty insane. Nice play there from CJ, kind of trying to bait Sona into that bush saying, come here, we want to kill you. But not going to happen, unfortunately. And Darius is farming. And I think Darius' impact on this game is just not really been what Najin wanted it to be.
But is it really fair to compare the impact of a jungle Darius to the master of the early game, Shaco?
Probably not.
And I guess maybe that's one of the things you can notice about the picks. It's like, Darius is actually a pretty good early game jungler, but Shaco is the early game in any game he's in. Yeah. Whether it's good or bad, he is always the early game.
Yeah, I mean, we did see Mundo last game from Najin, so there's definitely, I mean, they could have seen the Shaco and played more farm-oriented jungler, because, you know, it's going to be kind of hard to outgank a Shaco, and I just think this pick is just maybe not doing what Najin wanted it to, but we'll see, we'll definitely see. We have Ari looking for a kill up top. Shen is actually kind of squishy still. I mean, he's got that Giant's belt.
You say that.
I say that.
And that's a lot of health and over 100 resist there.
That is.
I'm going to call you out on the kind of squishy 18-minute Shen build here.
Death by a grasp. Not good enough? So sad.
I don't know. All I've gleaned from this game so far is I really feel like taking Shaco into solo queue right now.
We are going to have
inspiring. Some inspiring play from CJNC. Just a Shaco masterclass.
Nice smite as well here as well. Speaking of Shaco, he's coming in now as well. Darius is going to get slowed up by the 2-shift. There's the Jack in the Box as well. Here comes the Flash. Nice Flash Frost actually trying to find him as well. But can't quite follow up. And good pressure there. And a great smite as well from Darius, who actually rescued his own blue from Graves, who was happily just sitting in the enemy jungle trying to take
Shen winning a man fight against Vladimir. Not what I'd expect at all.
Well,
they were just using abilities on each other, auto-attacking, and Shen was coming way in the advantage there.
Well, we did already talk about, you know, the Shen's pretty tanky, as we noted, and yeah, I think he's just very far ahead of Vlad at this point. I mean, I'm going to even tab over the gold real quick now as we see the pressure coming out in mid. Extra going very deep, actually. There's a great Sonar. I don't know if they're going to catch it. Shen and Lu, they're going to combine up together, but not really going to commit to that one. Shaco.
That was a wombo combo right there. Intentionally or not, there was the Graves quick draw into the instant Lulu and did knock up the enemy, but then they kind of realized, oh crap, Graves is tanking the turret. That's not the best place to be.
No, it's not. I mean, they did a good job kind of saving him. There was a great Sonar kind of locking him out under the turret. But it's not going to be enough here. CJ just looking so strong right now. 4-0 now in turrets. Shaco down the bottom, split pushing here as well. He's going to be able to pick this one up. I don't think Sol can kind of get him off that. And the rest of CJ could even rotate here to get a little bit more.
Meanwhile, at Shaco.
Yep, he's got it. And there it is. It gets taken down now as well. So Ezreal just cannot defend right now. And he's building towards a Trinity Force. Do you agree with that?
And a 10k gold lead at the 20-minute mark here.
Oh, man.
And that's, you know, the product of the Shaco pressure and the 5 turrets they've got.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's pain train right now. I mean, do you think Ezreal should be even building a Trinity Force at this stage of the game? Can he help?
I guess it will help him escape from Shaco. It'll help him escape from anti-carries and assassins, so it's not the worst pickup, but he certainly will not be outputting anywhere near Graves' damage, as he's 600 gold away from his PD on top of the fully stacked Bloodthirster he's got here.
Yeah, and with a 10,000 gold lead, you're just kind of going to get out-damaged or out-tanked, for the most part, if you're the team that's behind. I mean, we're going to see Darius now try and pick up his red buff. Man, he needs items. He's really bleeding for gold. He actually has under 4,000 gold, which is just, it's not fun times.
Yeah, it's he's significantly behind the support for CJ Entus here. Like, not when I say significantly, he's 1,400 gold behind the support for the enemy team.
Yep, and we can see Lulu even invested a bit of that gold into an Oracles as well. She's actually had it for quite a while, hasn't died with it yet either, obviously. She is Secret Agent Lulu, as Smithy likes to call them, is 0-5 right now. Is getting pretty close to James Bond action as well, so we could see that for this one. That'll be exciting as a few raids go down, but I think CJ is setting up for a Baron. We've seen a lot of wards being placed around the Baron areas. I can just toggle over to the vision there. You can see they've got tons of vision, actually stupidly ridiculous amounts of vision. This ward, by the way, this lane ward is amazing, and I just want you all to know that.
Lane wards something that's come into vogue recently. It just gives you that much more information even when the enemy team ostensibly is, playing defensive and not doing much close to the pressure zones. You have exactly plenty of advanced notice as to what their plans are.
Yeah, and Felders are actually making an interesting point here. What do you think of a lot of the gold per 10 items that are being bought on the Najin side? I mean, do you think it's a good idea to buy them when you're behind? In fact, only Sona has. Oh, Vladimir as well. He actually bought a really early Heart of Gold, which was...
And that's something I've been told that is quite standard on the Korean server, the double GP10 on Vladimir. And, he was switching around lanes and kind of out of his element. But you make a good point here. Against an early game team, the amount of sunk gold he's put into these GP10s here means that during a team fight, there's a lot of dead gold that he kind of wishes he could spend on more meaningful items to try and turn the tide of a team fight.
Yep, and
as we see Shaco, casually take the third dragon at 23 minutes.
Yeah, I caught him running down there. His timing was literally perfect. He pretty much used hallucinate when and dragon spawned after, the animation happened, and then it was awesome. The animation happened.
At this point, he's 1260 gold away from his next big item, which will be a Trinity Force. A very strong choice on Shaco.
Oh man, Trinity Force Shaco at this point in the game is just pain train.
Well, the Trinity Force proc works with Shaco's backstab, so he gets a 20% bonus on that damage. It just means his burst potential is crazy. It reminds you of the good old / terrible, depending on who you are, Shaco days of the past.
The best days for all the Shaco
The best
players.
days.
The worst days for everybody else.
The worst days for AP mid players.
I hate Shaco. No, I don't. I love him. I love watching Shaco. How about that? I absolutely love watching Shaco.
He's just so watchable. I mean, how much creative, inventive play have we seen from the Shaco main CJ Insik here? He's been playing fantastically well.
Yeah.
And you could say that he's coasting because they won the first game, but this is a masterclass we're seeing right here.
Yep, and Israel does have his Trinity Force up now as well, so he's going to be a little bit better in any of these engagements, but I'm pretty sure CJ are looking for a Baron. We've had Lulu come into that pit multiple times to clear them out. Boots 5 on her as well, which is actually pretty important because she's a pretty slow champion, and positioning, of course, very important on supports. You want to make sure you're in range of your abilities to assist your teams. Long Panda now actually taking out this blue buff as well, and the pressure that Shen is exerting is actually pretty silly. He's got a very early Sunfire cape here as well, and he's just been pushing bottom lane for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes at least.
And we've seen games where, Shen's been first pick because everyone knows Shen is the ultimate priority pick. You don't want the enemy team to get him, so you pick him. But the one thing you have to remember is you need to make him a split-pushing presence. And the choice of the second item here, the Sunfire cape, just means he clears waves that much quicker. And look, he's probably even going to be able to solo Vlad and do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, Vlad not too happy right now. I mean, Shen just a little bit too far ahead of Vlad at this point in terms of items. Vlad, he's got some gold coming in. He's got a Kindle gem. He's got a lot of health actually. It's kind of being a bit safer here. Rabadon's, sorry, not Rabadon's, needlessly large rod up as well. Really interesting build from Vlad actually, because he hasn't quite completed a major item. Hasn't not even a tier 2 item's really been finished up, I guess. Maybe if you kind of Kindle Gem. But he's definitely looking for, an item with a little bit more oomph in it. And right now, CJ is trying to bait this Baron, and that's the reason they're having Shen bot for so long. Mboob as well with quite a bit of damage up. We've got Rod of Ages and the Chalice of Harmony as well as the Rabadon's almost completed for him. Whereas you look over at Ari here with DFG and building it now into a Rylai's, just not going to be able to output nearly as much damage as Anivia is. And I think CJ are doing what they want here. They know they have a lead.
Look, they might get a pick on Darius up top here.
Yep, he's in a bit of trouble there coming in. Oh man, the damage. And Shaco, he's just so hard to get away from. And as you kind of pointed out, when people are overextending potentially in these long lanes in 1v2 situations, Shaco does a great job of picking them off. And I think that was a similar instance where, especially Shaco with a Phage, pretty good at picking people off. And now CJ are going straight for the Baron. They're going to leave Shen here as well, I think. He's just going to pressure as much as he can. And if he has to come in, he's going to go ahead and use his ultimate. But it's going to be...
And it's a couple of seconds till the vision comes in here, but what can they do about it, barring a very, very lucky steal?
Yeah, I mean, backstab works for Nub. Shaco gets it. He's an experienced jungler. Insect going to pick that one up, no problem. Actually gets pretty low from the True Shot barrage, and Shen is still bottom lane. So Darius now trying to clean this one up, but he's going to have a little bit of trouble against Shen as well. He's actually got
6 levels under the Shen here.
That is a lot of levels.
For a bruiser, who, you know, bruisers always thrive on levels more so than items. He doesn't have any of them.
And Mboob, nice trial there, but Shenot will come in now as well. Actually going to be enough. Insect actually assassinates Ari there. Great play there as well. And now Soul in a ton of trouble. Shen looking for the Shadow Dish. Great ult from Sona. Oh, Essence Flex just missing there onto Shaco, who was like a sliver away from dying. Hemoplay gets used there as well. Yeah, Hemoplay just like, stay away from me kind of ultimate. Sangling Pool coming in as well. Shen looks for the Shadow Dish. Wow, actually just misses there. Bit of the missed times there for that one, but Graves going to still pick up yet another one there as Vlad goes down. Solnor still in trouble as the rest of CJ chase them down, and I don't know what Najin can really do at this point, but they are holding on for dear life right now. And now with Baron buff, CJ Entus are just looking so strong.
And Shaco has his Triforce gold. That will be the next pickup, and we'll have to keep an eye on what build he goes from there. But very strong Shaco play this game. Great pressure. 3-0-3. 5 towers down to 1. I don't know if there's any way back for Najin Shield here. It does look like they're staring down the barrel of a 2-0 loss.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a way, but it's very hard at this point, and you got to stay composed, man. Graves gets yet another kill there onto Darius.
That's 5 shot with ultimate there. 5 auto attacks on an ultimate. Goodbye, Darius.
No problem. And
Darius really wants that Aegis, which is kind of a depressing state of affairs that he's 500 gold away from Aegis at the 28-minute mark, his first major item.
Yeah, I mean, the boots mobility not really working out for Darius, unfortunately, and as I kind of said it, I question the choice a little bit here, just given how it's just really hard to like, you can't out-gank the king, which is Shaco, clearly. Shaco is the king, you know, you don't want to just be Prince in this situation. I think you either... I mean, if you can't outdo him, I think you just try and out-farm him, and so I would have maybe liked to see Mundo here again, but...
I guess it's unfortunate we didn't see the order of picks there, as maybe there was some significance there. We did miss that, so apologies to our viewers for missing out on just the draft order there, but it's looking like a masterstroke Shaco pick rather than a troll Shaco pick at the moment.
Yeah, now speaking of the split push Shen we were talking about earlier.
Shaco,
oh man.
He's almost completely one shot. He's going to try and back here by completely juking out the Ari.
Oh, Darius coming in there as well. Nice. Whoa! That hallucinate! That was absolutely sick! But Ari picks it off instead. Oh man. I mean, I'm sad he died, because that's going to ruin his otherwise perfect game, I guess. But holy crap, that was a play. And that is
and everyone, I think most players are aware that you can use hallucinate to dodge skill shots and damage, but to pull it off with such aplomb, again, an experienced Shaco player.
Yeah,
right
and exactly. That is knowing your champion to an absolute T now. An extra wave. He's going to trunk some fools. Ari there.
Yeah, people talk about the things they can achieve in custom games, but to do it in a tournament match here at an important point just shows how good he is at Shaco.
Yeah, and just using every little bit of his champion. I mean, the situation was pretty much hopeless at that point, but he did everything he could to try and kill off Darius there in that well, yeah, I guess lose-lose situation there. But just
and if work comes to worse, and he just stalls a counter push or stalls enemy play for a couple seconds more, his team should be able to take advantage of that. It's a very good play.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the little things that add up. And oh, nice Shirelius plus Whimsy away there from Nish on Lulu.
Easy 525 move speed, no problem.
It's so funny watching him move that quickly. But at this,
I heard saying vroom vroom.
Vroom vroom. She does say vroom vroom, doesn't she? Witsand was where I was going before Shaco did all these crazy things. Yeah. Speaking of split pushing, this Shen is just, oh man, Solar Dragon yet again by Shaco. I think breathed on it and it died at that point, by the way, and he's going to transition now into pushing out this bottom lane. But I mean, the split push is just all here, right, for CJ Entus, and I like the way they're playing. They're playing patiently. They don't want to make silly mistakes, you know, force fights that just in case they can't win them. Even with how far ahead they are, we're approaching 15,000 gold. In fact,
and the reality always is that Shaco isn't the best team fighter. I would argue that with the massive gold advantage, he's a far superior team fighter than Darius at the moment. But why risk it? And lovely ward position. Look how much early warning Shaco's going to have before anyone gets anywhere near him in this lane.
And just kind of pokes Vladimir as well. His Wriggles, by the way, just life-stealing him for an absolute ton in combination with his Trinity Force. And even a longsword here as well. So Insect really just going pretty much balls deep on the aggression right now. Actually poked off Vladimir there, who revealed him with a Tides Bug, which was pretty funny. But sadly, we are going to have a pause for whatever reason. Oh, and looks like...
As we see Vladimir DC.
Looks like Vladimir
and I
DC.
think, I'm guessing that longsword will probably build into a Hex Drinker pickup here, which is a very strong item against the double AP of Ari and Vladimir.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what CJ are doing here. It's kind of, you know, they're ahead. They're clearly ahead. I mean, we can see that. I'm sure they know that for themselves as well. But they're just not taking any chances. And I think being a team that, like, showing care even when you're really far ahead and knowing what you need to do to finish the game. They're playing to their comp strength, you know. They could, you know, try and just 5-man mid and push in there and win it that way, but I think, you know, they picked this team to do exactly this, to split push with Shaco and get an early lead, to split push with Shen once he got the farm up. And Shaco and Shen, they've been doing great this game, so they're absolutely ready, and they've been split pushing bot and top for what I seriously feel like has been about 10 minutes. And that's a lot of constant pressure for a team to try and get out of. And you can see now mid as well, getting 3-man here, and Graves and Anivia.
Shen is entrenched top, and Shaco's entrenched bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, Graves and Anivia can just do silly things in terms of damage output right now.
Both the blue buff, both with fully tooled item builds almost here.
Yeah, and I mean, Najin just kind of been restricted to their base almost for the last few minutes, and I mean, that is the sign of the map control that CJ have managed to achieve in this one. You can see Vlad now trying to outpush him. He's doing an okay job with Tides of Blood. Shaco now just pushing in constantly here as Darius tries to collect the farm here, and they've actually managed to split the enemy team into the groups they want them to. There are 2 1v1s and a 3v3, and this is exactly how CJ want to play it from here. Someone's got
the wave clear and pressure of Graves and Anivia. There's no chance those 3 champions that Najin have entrenched at the mid tower are going to have any chance of stopping this inevitable push here in mid lane.
Shaken are going to use this Hallucinate Soul coming in looking for it, but they actually of course draw someone in, so now mid tower getting a lot of pressure applied to it as well. True Shot Barrage will come out now. Shen's actually taking his golems as well, just as a side note, and oh man, someone is low. I think it's Ezreal. Yeah, he's just running out back there. But he's okay now, but if he goes back, that could, again, it's a little window to start chipping away even more at these towers. Shaco now going to back up a little bit here from Vlad. I don't really know how, like, where they want to put certain champions against who. I feel like Vlad's probably their best counter pusher at this point.
Yeah, it's the best wave clear for sure. I mean, Ari also, but she kind of has to get fairly close range to hit the whole creep wave.
Yeah, and I mean, she's just very squishy at this point. I mean, look at Anivia, they're just kind of chunking her down. Actually misses his combo, unfortunately. Throws out the Glacial Storm just after the Frostbite hits, but there's tons of damage.
And it'll be the next wave, I think, that will see the end of the 483 hit points that are holding out on mid turret.
Yep, so Shaco goes back, and as he called it, actually builds a Hex Drinker. So showing your powers as a prophet, my good friend PapaSmithy. And Shaco did indeed build that item. I mean, Baron is, oh man, he's gonna do it, isn't he? I think Shaco's a wonderful.
Hexstring is a wonderful item on Shaco because, especially against a Vladimir who does that delayed damage, you can just deceive away and be surprisingly tanky. And you're right, he put down that box, just entrenched at Baron, and this Baron's gonna go down. I'm kind of timing it here. I'm guessing about 9 seconds.
I was actually hoping that Shaco was gonna solo it, but
he could have with those items.
Yes. And that would have been awesome. But no, I mean, that was a pretty quick Baron regardless. The wall gets chucked out there as well. Just missing Soul actually on Ezreal. Oh, Extra Wave has found himself somebody. Chenault going to come in there. Spirit Rush gets used as well by Ari. Oh! That was a tight play there from Graves. Splashing over the wall just as Shen was to land. He gave him a little bit of extra distance there. And Insect now coming in, trying to find Ezreal. And just the pressure. I mean, this mid turret is dead. It is dead. Long Panda going to face take it. Actually, Anivia finds herself tanking it up. Doesn't matter there as Extra Wave picks it up, no problem. And now the first inhibitor of the game will drop here. And just the pressure that CJ Entus have managed to... I mean, it's been 8 minutes. They have been split pushing for 8 minutes because that's how long it takes Baron to come back up. 7 minutes. Wow, I look great. Don't I look like the most knowledgeable Lorecaster? 7 minutes. Feels like 8 minutes. That's how good they are at it.
Follow Pastrytime at Pastrytime.
8 minutes Korean time, trust me. It's the time difference. I swear, I'm not bad. Anyway, but I mean, they've been split pushing for a long time, and that was a free Baron.
So, what's your inkling about the item that Anivia wants to complete out of a Giant's Belt? I have my suspicions, but I want to hear what you're thinking.
Warmogs.
I think so too. I think it's going to have to be some Frog Anivia Warmogs, because from what I understand, I believe at this point. Yes, Rebirth, Anivia's egg actually provides bonus resist. I know it starts off at -20 resist, and by the end it gives you bonus. So Warmogs with the bonus armor magic resist just means that egg is it's just not worth taking down.
Pretty much. And I mean, it's not just, oh, I'm ahead, I'm going to build something silly. Oh, nice call, by the way, because there's a Ruby Crystal. So it will happen now. We will have the Frog and Anivia. The Frog and Special, I guess. as the warm-ups will get completed up. But I mean, it actually makes perfect sense with the way her passive works. So you know, it's not just, I mean, Froggen, you know, arguably the best Anivia player in the world. He's not just doing it for style when he wins, and he almost always looks good when he plays Anivia. It makes complete sense, and for the reasons you said there.
The 5-man protection of the top lane here. Definitely Shen. I think he's going to be pretty maneuverable. I don't think he has to worry too much about being chased down, barring a Trinity Force proc or two. But yeah, he's just going to sit top, clear waves as they come to him, and he has it easy, really.
Yeah, I mean, Flash is up on Shen as well. He's got Shadow Dash in there as well. Looks like 2 men actually up here in the top lane as Long Panda and Extra Wave team up to try and take out the top turret. Shaco still pushing down the bottom, and I think
they should easily be able to 1v1 even under turret. 5 levels under Darius here.
And Shen pretty much eats all of Ari's spells and takes what equated to, I think, 0 looking damage. Long Panda, great taunt there as the Anivia Wall locks in Ari, and there's a great kill there as Graves picks that one up. Again, the protection there for Graves as Lulu ult goes off on him. Sona will drop now as well. Mboob now unstoppable. Great Zonies, but it's not going to be enough here, and Vladimir can pretty much do nothing but look stylish. Great Sanguine Pull. There's the Shen ult procking off as well, and I think it's pretty much curtains right now.
GG's call in all chat, and I don't think a moment too soon.
No.
As Shaco perishes to the double turret tanking here.
Oh, and dies just as his clone would die to the turrets as well. A well-deserved second game victory there. I mean, it was a pretty tight one at the end there. CJ Entus showed class in the first game. They're just eking out a 45-minute one, but pretty much for the entirety of this 36 minutes, it just feels like they were in complete control this game.
Yeah, look, they took the picks into the game. They know what they wanted. They pushed down that bot tower, 5-minute turret down bottom, and swapped Graves Lulu up there so fast, and obviously a very well-known amazing push lane, and they didn't have to worry about losing a counter turret there just because of how quick they did it. But the Shaco pressure, and in a situation where top lane or one of the solo lanes, regardless of which one it is always going to be overextended, if you have a lane with any sort of CC like Shen, Shaco is just a complete terror, more so than even usual. And the Boots 5 rush there just meant that he had so much more presence than Darius. And Darius, unfortunately, was on the back foot the whole game, never got it going, ended up with the same gold as the Sona, which is never a good place for your jungler to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, just, wow. I mean, it's a well-deserved 2-0, I feel, from CJ Entus. They played spectacularly, and they're actually going to advance out into the third round. Just to update you guys in terms of the brackets, this is what we've been casting. It's Najin Shield versus CJ Entus, of course, the game, but this is the CPL Korean qualifier, the Cyber Pro League, I think. Cyber Game Pro League, not sure. But he's going to be in Shenyang in China, and of course this is the Korean slot for that event. You can see what's happened right now. Round 3 action is actually where we're going to be heading after this. I believe that Joe and PapaSmithy will be back for your regular TV over at the ESL TV mainstream, if you guys want to cover that. But we can see now that CJ Entus now taking out Najin's Shield will advance to round 3, and of course they're awaiting the match between MVP White and MVP Blue, who will be, of course, I guess our semi-final, and then the grand final. Actually, is that? Yes, my brain's working correctly, right? Yes, it is. Fantastic. It'll actually be our final as well. And yes, it is late. Apologies, everybody. My brain is melted after all those awesome games. But yes, they'll of course await the winner of MVP White versus MVP Blue, which I guess is battle of the. I don't know, I want to say the B teams, but that seems mean, because I'm sure they're fantastic players. But yeah, I guess, you know, all the teammates going to fight it out.
When you take a cursory look at champ selects and see every player in both teams is above 2200, there's no need to grade the teams. These are all just fantastic players, and maybe some of their teams are new, and maybe some of their alliances between players are new, but the mechanical skill here first rate, and some great team play from CG Entus here, just too strong for Najin Shield.
Yeah, absolutely. So they will take it 2-0 here. Congratulations again. Good game, well played to both teams. You've been fantastic. Thanks again to all our viewers who tuned in this evening. It's been absolutely amazing to have you on, and we don't do it without you, because there's absolutely no point. So thanks, guys, for keeping hype in chat and just generally being lovely, lovely people to be around. And of course, last but not least, big shout outs to the ESL Asia admin, who's been very accommodating here, making sure we get in and cast these games. Shout out to the Korean guys as well, and I think the other observer, who of course let us know about the band, which was very lovely, because I think I may have trolled myself accidentally out of that lobby. And last but not least, big shout out to Joe Miller and PapaSmithy for actually giving us the game that they would have otherwise done if they were not tied up at IEM. So big thanks to everybody here for giving us this opportunity tonight, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, look, just a pleasure for some great League of Legends, and hopefully there'll be a chance to be invited back in the future, because it's wonderful casting the Australian scene, but just seeing some of the amazing play, the changes in meta, the different champ selections, League of Legends has definitely become a world game.
Yep, absolutely. And that is going to be it for us tonight, guys. We're sorry we couldn't bring you a third game, but CJ Entus in the end too strong. Good game, well played again to both teams. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We are going to sign out for this one, and we will catch you all later. Thanks again, guys. We've had a fantastic evening. We hope you have too.